Okay, we've got more loading on, but let's go ahead because we're starting a little bit late. First, I'd like to give a few moments to the folks that the Harris County Democratic lawyers are happy to kind of have as the cause that has done such great work here in Harris County, that is also doing great work for all our candidates up and down the ballot to bring in voters that aren't the voters that are usually out there, but need to be out there this time especially. Thank you, Art, for joining us, and thanks for all the hard work you're doing. And the one thing I did ask him to also talk about is what's been happening out in the field, because something really kind of unbelievably exciting happened this past weekend in Meyerland with his group. So thank you, Art, for joining us, and fire away.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mike Doyle, for having me tonight and your organization. Really appreciate what all of you do. I'm Art Pronin. I'm the president of Meyerland Area Democrats. I think we all hopefully know each other. And I'm the outreach director for Sisters United Alliance. And I know that Mike and your organization tonight is dedicating fundraising towards Sisters United Alliance. I have some exciting news about our program. If you're not familiar with it, we are in our third cycle in Texas. We are turning out women who are registered to vote, but never voted or just once. Women of color in particular. Our target is 500,000 women in 13 counties, including Harris, Fort Bend, Collin, Hayes. All those counties you're buzzing about and hearing about, we're in them, turning out these women. We estimate by the end of this, we'll have turned out at least 100,000 women who never voted in 16 nor 2018. Their last vote was either in 2012 or not at all. These are our voters. These are our women, like I said. So it's super, super exciting what's going on here. As you can imagine, our digital program has 13 million imprints so far, which is extraordinary. We have 10,000 live calls a day going out to these women, plus text, plus 2 mailers have gone out to 430,000 women. So the third mailer is about to drop, and there's an arc and theme to the mail pieces. This is not like something that just says, go vote Democratic. We use a messaging in particular to turn these women out to vote. They're not going to turn out and vote for the latest savior. They're going to turn out, though, and vote on socioeconomics and issues that really matter to them, which, as you can imagine right now, is healthcare, COVID-19, education. What are they going to do with their kids with childcare? Those kinds of questions. We're just having an enormous success with it. Probably our biggest turnouts are in Hayes and Collin County right now, which is extraordinary with major national implications, as I'm sure all of you are familiar with. I wanted to also, I will put in the chat box my name and information and a donation link. We would love to have our fellow friends here tonight donate to this organization, give us some last minute, what we call late money to do a little bit more of a push. And of course, in 2 years, you know, we're already planning for the governorship and doing those strategic moves. So we'd love to have y'all included from day one on that to build that structure out. In terms of Meyerland area Democrats and the work we're doing, what Mike alluded to is correct. We had what I would argue is the largest GOTV project or event I've ever seen. We had over 100 people turn out at Meyerland Park with MJ Hagar and Ann Johnson to do the doors, to do the lit drops. And I am sure we are going to flip all the competitive House seats in Harris County, including HD 134 for Ann Johnson. So with that, I will hand this back over to you, Mike.
Thank you, Art. Thanks for all that hard work. And that's what I mean. That's if getting people to vote is difficult, getting people to block walk is really difficult. And
correct.
And that kind of enthusiasm, you know, the thing I've heard consistently is there's a lot of Democrats who will walk through glass in bare feet to vote, and that's just an amazing display of enthusiasm. So we're not there yet.
You are correct.
Yes. Thank you, Art.
Oh, no, I think we're there. Okay.
Thank you. So I am thank you, Art. I am disappointed that we're not able to today actually honor as scheduled Dean Gary Bledsoe. The one thing besides his obvious honors, his work as Dean at Thurgood Marshall, his work for the NAACP here in Texas, that stands out to me is the incredible amount of work he's done to protect the voting rights of Texans, up to and including an incredible order this week out of a federal judge that specifically quoted what he was talking about on how important it is that voters, particularly minority voters, are protected against those who might want to discourage voting by showing up without a mask. And on case after case, he has just been the laboring oar in so many ways to protect our vote and protect the votes of folks that are going to carry these great Democrats across the line, hopefully in a couple days. Dean Bledsoe, I'm very proud to turn it over to you, and thank you for doing this and coming up with this idea.
Mike, thank you. And I've always really enjoyed working with you, and HCDLA is such a fine organization, and it has brought so much good to Harris County and to our state. I think people are finding out what it's about in many ways. And let me just mention, in starting out, and that at the testament to Thurgood Marshall, one of the ironies is the decision that we prevailed on that has now been stayed by the Fifth Circuit, but we're still hoping to prevail, was actually handed down by a Thurgood Marshall School of Law graduate, Jason Pulliam. So we're glad that the Thurgood Marshall graduates have done well on the federal bench, and that they were able to actually see eye to eye and understand it's more important to protect Texas voters than to actually be part of some kind of political machinery. So we're heartened by that decision and hoping that we will have him upheld. Today, I want to say that I think we're here to discuss something that is truly important to all lawyers. I think all of us lawyers understand that probably the most important thing that you have is a need for a fair forum. If you have a fair forum, then you can possibly prevail in your case. And I think many of us have probably been in forums where the judges haven't really been that kind, or where justice wasn't a real possibility, and because a judge can weigh the scales in the other way. I know that because of what's been happening in Harris County, the state's taken note of this, and there have been discussions regarding potential judicial reforms in terms of how we select our judges. We have to all be very concerned about that, because I think that one of the things that I think is so obvious to me, that I hope is obvious to all of us, is that it's not whether someone was ordered the court at law school and went and worked for a white shoe firm. It's not whether someone happens to be friendly with a governor of either party, really. But I think it's whether or not someone really has a compassion and a connection with the people that will make them the best judge. And so I think we're really honored today to be honoring and talking with 4 individuals who I think will truly exude the idea of what a great judge should be. Someone with compassion, empathy, has unbiased vision, and has a zeal for justice. You know, the United States Constitution, if you read the preamble and the preamble to the Texas Constitution, they both talk about the goal is justice. Those preambles have not been used in ways that they should, but we're seeing a new wave and a real possibility of great change. You know, years ago, when Thurgood Marshall was considering whether or not to allow Texas Southern University to name its law school after Thurgood Marshall came down and visited the school. And he elicited several promises from the school, that you would reach out and make sure you would have diversity at Thurgood Marshall, and you would make sure that the school truly had meaning. And so we want to make sure that Thurgood Marshall, that was always the desire, would continue with that obligation that came as a result of the discussion with Thurgood Marshall. So we have 4 candidates today who are running for judicial positions, district judge positions in Harris County. We're going to take them in ballot order, and it has really been a pleasure. I've known a couple for a while, but it's been really great getting to know them and finding out more about them. And I think the things I found out give a real indication of what I've been talking about in terms of what actually is required in becoming a great judge or a good judge. Let's start out with Jeralynn Manor, who's running for the 80th court. She's born and raised in New Orleans. She's wanted to be a judge since she was 7 years old. Her mother was a nurse. Her father was a police officer. And very interestingly, her dad was a member of the SWAT team and was actually one of the members of the dive unit there in New Orleans. The mantra for her campaign and what she wants to carry onto the bench is service to all mankind. She studied at Xavier in New Orleans. She ultimately went to Texas Southern University, where she graduated from the Barbara Jordan, Mickey Leland School of Public Affairs with a degree in the administration of justice. And she then graduated from Thurgood Marshall School of Law, where she amjured bankruptcy under my good friend, Judge Manuel Leal. And she received first place in the mock trial competition for the prestigious mock trial competition at Thurgood Marshall School of Law. She's practiced real estate law in years past, and today she has been practicing in mass tort litigation, civil rights, personal injury, immigration, and employment law. She has a great commitment to the community as well. She is a champion of justice society member for the Texas Equal Access for Justice Foundation. She is a member of the Pro Bono College of the Texas Bar. She's a life member of the NAACP. She is a den mother for the Boy Scouts, and she's on the board of directors for the Black Heritage Society's MLK Parade. She says justice is on the ballot, and she is challenged by an earlier presidential candidate to run for judge. Why not you? And she's thought about it, and she says, yes, that's true. Why not me? Let's welcome Jeralynn Manor, candidate for the 80th District Court. Judge, or am I being a little presumptuous here?
Soon to be, but thank you so much. I want to take a moment to thank you, Dean Bledsoe. I really appreciate that gracious introduction. You truly made me feel important of the way you spoke, and I appreciate that. I also want to say a thank you to Art and also Sisters United Alliance. It is because of people like you and communities and groups like Sisters United Alliance that allow people like me to be where we are. So first and foremost, I just want to say thank you. And Dean Bledsoe told you guys everything there is to know about me, but what he didn't tell you was I was asked by, and we were all asked by our current administration in 2016, what do you have to lose? And at the time, it was a good question. Now, it is the ultimate question, because now we have an answer. And one of the things that I can say personally that I've lost is every single asylum trial that I've conducted under this administration. I have lost through arbitrary reasons of the ability for a lot of my clients to seek citizenship and or at least green card status. And when I say arbitrary reasons, I mean a cracked windshield, deported, you know, and these are things that in all of my 19 years of practice, I've never seen under Republican and Democratic presidents. I've just never seen anything like this. So I was asked, what did I have to lose? And hell, I was losing a lot. And And that's just my own personal goals. What about my clients? They were losing everything, you know, and something as simple as healthcare. Every single year, we've had to find a different plan. Why would we have to do that? You know? So the question, what did we have to lose, made me decide to put my name on the ballot. I've always wanted to become a judge, but in my practice, I literally fell in love with the practice of law itself and helping individuals, you know, in their individual cases. I found that in a practice, I learned something new about the law in every single case that I took. I learned something new about my clients in every single case that I've had. And when I was humble enough and when I was truly paying attention, I learned something new about myself. And that literally changed who I was. So I took that, and I believe that I'm going to take that sense of relatability, that sense of humbleness, that sense of common sense, which is rare these days, and I'm gonna bring that to the bench. And I think that, and I pray that those will be attributes that will make me a good judge. So that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Judge, thank you so much. We're truly excited. I guess, I think what we've all agreed is to keep the questions until the end, I believe. So thank you so much. And if you would be around, I'm sure there are going to be some very good questions. We're really excited about you ascending to the bench.
Thank you.
Our second candidate is someone that I've known for a while. She is a senior assistant at Cheryl Elliott Thornton. She is a senior assistant county attorney for Harris County currently. She was a former general counsel for Texas Southern University. She has been an administrative law judge and an assistant attorney general. She's got over 30 years in public service. She's won numerous community service awards. One of the things I love to note about her, she's a former precinct chair for 228. That means she's really been there and rolled up the good old sleeves and done that hard work. She's been a co-chair for the Houston Bar Association Gender Fairness Committee. She's a board member for the Houston Lawyer Referral Service. She has been general counsel for Senate District 13. She has been the chair of the Houston Police Advisory Board. And in 2018, she was named one of the top 50 Black professionals and entrepreneurs in the state of Texas. And she has received the HBA President's Award and the Alex Award for Legal Excellence. She's a graduate of Lamar High School in Houston and received a bachelor's from Trinity University in San Antonio, a master's from St. Mary's in San Antonio, and then a law degree from the Thurgood Marshall School of Law. And I don't know that she can continue to do this once she's on the bench, but she's noted as a great fundraiser, has really raised significant funding for Texas Southern University, United Negro College Fund, the Museum of Fine Arts, and the Houston Ebony Opera Guild. So let's please welcome someone that really is quite deserving and who will be an outstanding jurist, Cheryl Elliott Thornton.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Elliott Thornton, and I'm the candidate for the 164th Civil Judicial District Court. I have actually worked as general counsel for a major university here in the city of Houston. I've worked as an assistant attorney general. I've worked as a hearing officer and administrative law judge for the state of Texas, and currently, and have for about 10 years, served my community by working as a senior assistant county attorney for Harris County. Public service is my nature. It is my avocation as well as my professional calling. Why am I running for this position? Because I know this community, this Harris County, deserves a person with integrity as well as capability. I know I am that person. I would be honored if I have earned your vote, if I've earned your trust, and you will vote for me as your next Democratic nominee for judge of the 164th Civil District Court.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'll keep saying Judge Thornton. We know that's going to happen, though, right? We've all got that positive belief, so we know these things will happen. So thank you so much, and she will be here and available for questions as well. So she's here with all of us. Now
if I could just say hello.
Oh, sure, Judge. Oh, yeah.
I'm actually physically here.
You want to add to? You go ahead and add to the video, Judge, if you want. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I want to say thank you again to Mike Doyle, to Art Cronin, to of course Dean Bledsoe. It is an honor to be here just to talk with each and every one of you. I am active in the two major organizations that are here, and that's the Houston, the HCDLA, which with Mike, as well as with the Maryland Democrats. And with Sisters United, I have gotten the to know them and to respect what they are doing for this democracy. I want to say thank each and every one of you that are out there, that are voters, that can take the message forward, that it is time for that great change. As a judge, I cannot advocate. Even as a judicial candidate, we're not supposed to advocate for any individual, but we can advocate for a philosophy. And that philosophy is one that I like to use for my logo, if you will, and that is character. Excellent experience that you can trust. And that's what I'm bringing to the table, as well as what all of the Democratic nominees are doing. What we say is look forward to that person, or look toward that person that you've seen before, that you know. Look toward that organization that you know says welcome to a person that does have, quote, the right stuff. That's all of us. Remember, more than anything else, to vote from the top of the ticket to the bottom, because all of us that are here are at the bottom of that ticket. And without a foundation, and that's what we are, we're the foundation. Without a foundation, the top of the ticket cannot succeed. So again, I'm Cheryl Elliott Thornton, the Democratic nominee for the 164th Judicial District Court, and I thank you for your time.
Okay. Well said. It's so important that we make sure that everyone goes all the way down that ballot. You know, we tell folks that, you know, if you want to be there, be very quick. You simply might want to go down the ballot and check the DEM or what have you, and that'll mean you'll make sure you check every box. Our next candidate is Brittanye Morris, who's a candidate for the 333rd Civil District Court, and like future Judge Manor, she's a daughter of a police officer and an educator. She graduated high school in 3 years while being a cheerleader and a member of the debate team, wanting to be a lawyer way back then. She graduated from the University of Houston with honors in political science. After that, she had a choice to go to a number of law schools, but she wanted to choose a law school, she says, that had a history of training great advocates and the best judges. And she said she made the selection after her study of attending Thurgood Marshall School of Law. She was a member of the legendary mock trial team when she was at Thurgood Marshall. She has represented many clients in many courtrooms, and this has inspired her to run for judge. She has seen backward policies that harm honest and hardworking people, that require them to make a choice between their lawsuits and their means of employment. She has seen judges talk down to people. She has seen judges exhibit very clear biases that are income related particularly. And she thinks that a judge should be focused on justice for all people, not just for those who are privileged. That is why she's running. She's committed to be fair, accessible, transparent, and just if she's elected, and she's pledging to be your judge. Let's please welcome Brittanye Morris, candidate for the 333rd District Court.
Oh, thank you for that wonderful introduction. Thank you, Dean Bledsoe, Art, Mike, Stephen, and Sisters United. My name is Brittanye Morris, and I am the Democratic nominee for the 333rd Civil District Court. Like Dean Bledsoe so eloquently stated, my passion is all about creating equality and equal access and opportunity to justice in the court. So that's my driving force. I've seen so often that disparities and inequalities in the system that sometimes are based on socioeconomic status or race or whatever they may be, but the courtroom is a tool for the people to access justice. And while being on the bench, I plan to simply be a vehicle for that justice to be carried out and everyone have equal access to that. Public service is in my blood. One parent was an educator, the other one was a police officer with HPD for about 40 years. So service is all, my family knows. I have several siblings who are teachers. So public service is what we are all about. That was instilled in us. So it's very important that we elect people that have the ideology of everybody, that's very representative of our democracy or our constituency in Harris County, which is so diverse. And there's so many levels of representation that need to be represented from the bench. And I think now more than ever, people are wanting that representation and they want their voice to be heard. And they want someone who will be relatable to the various life situations that may walk in the courtroom. So again, with that, thank everyone for coming out to watch us on this Zoom tonight. Thank everyone for putting this Zoom on. And remember, on November 3rd, if you have not already voted, vote all the way down the ballot.
Thank you, Morris. I will say this, you're running for the 333rd, the election's on the 3rd, you're number 3 tonight. So I think that somehow that lines up for you. And I think things look pretty good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So thank you so much. Our final candidate honoree here that we'll be talking with this evening is Dawn Deshay Rogers. She's a candidate for the 334th District Court. She was mesmerized by lawyers from watching television as a young person. And so at the age of 9, after watching television, she decided to become a lawyer. After that, she did all the speech, drama, and debate that she could from middle school on. She attended Sam Houston State University, where she received second place in the Bob Gamage mock trial competition, the name from the great congressman, my good friend from Houston many years ago, the mock trial competition named in his honor. She's the vice president of the Delta Pre-Law Society while there. And she then attended the Thurgood Marshall School of Law, where she received some real experience that helped develop her views on the world and the legal system. She externed in the 189th District Court while in law school and did such a good job as an extern that she was hired as a full-time law clerk. She also interned at the Court of Appeals, the first court. She became a lawyer in 2002. She's worked as an attorney an honors attorney for the state attorney general. From 2002 to 2004, she tried more than 50 bench and jury trials for the law enforcement division of the attorney general's office, division I was in many years ago. 2004 to 2009, she worked for a boutique defense firm, working on personal injury, product liability, breach of contract, and construction law. In 2009, she started the D. Rogers Law Group, and they specialize in doing foreclosures, contract disputes, family law, education, and property law. She's been an adjunct professor at the Lone Star College, and she She takes very serious a responsibility, a desire, a commitment to mentor young people, particularly freshmen, on college preparedness, schooling them on financial literacy and professional growth. She's a certified mediator, and she has many endorsements from the Houston Chronicle to Black Lives Matter. Let's welcome Dawn Deshay Rogers, candidate for the 334th District Court.
Awesome. Thank you so very much, Dean. I appreciate that introduction. I appreciate so much HCDLA for having this evening and allowing us to get an opportunity to speak to you and all of the viewers. I certainly want to thank you, Art, and your involvement. I love everything that you've been doing for the Maryland Area Democratic Club. You give me energy. I appreciate that. You give us all energy. And then certainly Sisters United. What can I say? I am so proud of this very moment right now. To everyone watching, my name is Dawn Rogers, and I am your Democratic nominee for the 334th Civil District Court. And if I've been doing my job, then you know that my slogan is, it's a dawn of a new day. Now, again, that is a catchy slogan, but that also kind of speaks to the energy that I believe that I bring to the courtroom, that I bring into the practice of law. I've always, like Dean, you've so eloquently pointed out, and you've introduced in your introduction of me, I've always enjoyed the law. I've always enjoyed the opportunity to reach people and to talk to people and influence people by way of speaking with them and advocating. And so I feel as though that's something that in the courtroom, I could bring not only for my clients, but for all of Harris County. And so my decision to run was so that I could broaden my ability to help others. You know, as an 18-year attorney, I've certainly been in situations where I've not been happy with the way that I was treated or my client was treated, or even another attorney was treated in some of these courts, and not only Harris County, but throughout Texas. And part of what I picked up on is things that I would not want to do if I were in fact a judge. One of those things is not having patience. I believe that patience is very important for judicial temperament. I believe that you have to allow your parties an opportunity to do their job. I believe that you should allow people to come in and produce their evidence and have their arguments, and there not be this tone or this attitude of inconvenience, because we are here for the community. So that's what I've been working on for the last 18 years. I've been really working on perfecting my craft, and not only just understanding the law and procedure, but also doing my best to work with people. You know, currently my job is as a managing attorney with a team of 20 to work with people, because it's not always about the work, it's about the needs of those individuals. And there are times where they may have issues going on in their personal lives that have nothing to do with work, but I want to be there for them. I want to be that empathetic ear that they need so that they can be their best selves when they're doing their job. And I think that's the same thing that attorneys need in front of courtrooms. You want an opportunity to do your best job, and you want to do so in front of a judge who truly, truly is listening to you and being patient with you and fair and impartial. So that's just a little bit of the energy that I want to bring into the courtroom. Again, you read my bio. I've been working very hard. I've been very much so involved in civil litigation the entire time. I enjoy practicing law. I enjoy the experience. So I just want to keep the momentum going. I want Democrats to win. I am on the Democratic ticket. All of these wonderful ladies have been doing an amazing job, and I'm very much so honored to be on the same ticket with them. They too have given me the energy to keep on going. So thank you, ladies. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Jeralynn, because I am ready to ride this thing all the way home. And I just want us to all be victorious on Tuesday. So remember, there's 24-hour voting going on actually right now. And so the polls are open for an extended period of time. If you have not already voted, please go out and vote. If you know people who have not already voted, pick them up, drop them off at the polls so they can get their vote in. And certainly the big election day is on the 3rd. So I'm hoping that we can really, really make history during this 2020 election. And I hope that I do earn your vote. Dawn Deshay Rogers on the ballot for the 334th Civil District Court. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, future Judge Rogers. I will say, we know the force is with you. I can tell, very much so, as Obi-Wan Kenobi would say. So I think we've got a lot to be looking forward to see you on the bench. I think that we should probably take that statement you just gave and and have it presented at all the law schools and all the judicial schools. So that's really how judges should be, and I really appreciate what you've said. Now, I know that all the lawyers out there and members of the community who are also in the audience have questions, and so I want to turn it back over to my good friend Mike Doyle, and I think Mike's going to handle that. But I'm greatly enthusiastic about next Tuesday, and let's make sure that everyone gets out to vote, because in many ways democracy might be at stake. So let's make sure we get folks out to vote.
Thank you, Dean. There's really a couple, and there's a couple that actually I got ahead of time from folks. One of them kind of flows a little bit with what we've heard from Art, and it's really for everybody. What's kind of been the most inspiring thing you've seen out on the campaign trail, which has obviously been a really challenging thing, but my guess is, going back to the primary or even before, there's probably something each of you has that kind of struck you in the heart that, wow, this is something worth doing, and I'm inspired by these people out here. So I'll just open it up to whoever has an answer on that. Maybe everybody has an answer. Cheryl, you're not on mute, so go ahead, Ms. Thornton.
Sure. You know, one of the most inspiring things I've seen are the new voters. It has been really exciting. Yesterday, I was at one of the polls, and a young lady came up to me and she said, "This is my first time voting. What do I do?" And she had, our little slate. And she says, "Do I just mark this?" And then, went through the process with her and told her, no, but you can carry that in, mark Democrat, et cetera. And she was just, okay. And then she literally walked off, and I started cheering for her. First time voter, like, yay, cheering her on. And then I had another one who came up to me. This was her first time voting in Texas. And it kind of was a little daunting to her, because it was her first time voting in Texas. So she asked me similar questions, and I was, you'll be great. Thank you so much for taking your time, et cetera. And it's just being a cheerleader. Sometimes that actually, it definitely energizes me, and it helps them as well. And it's been exciting. Sisters United, organizations like that have been getting out these new voters, and they stayed home in 2016, and I don't think they're staying home in 2020.
Thank you, Cheryl. And I'm just going along. Jeralynn, do you have anything that's kind of struck you? And obviously it could be recent, but that kind of stands out, like, wow, this is just an unbelievable process I'm part of now.
So you have to mute. We're in the same room. So I echo everything Cheryl said. To see the new voters, I mean, it really is humbling. But another thing that I am really honored and that I love seeing on my candidates, we have been a support system for one another. And some of us, this is our first time meeting one another on the campaign trail. And that I found that very inspiring. And that's one of the most joyful things that I've experienced in my campaigning. And I can say this, I helped my son to get registered to vote. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, because I can't hear anything. You got to turn me up. I helped my son get registered to vote. He's a first-time voter. And I asked him, was he going to vote for me? And he said he would do his research. And I appreciated that. But at the end of the day, he did vote for me. And so I was very honored. So that's the most exciting thing for me, is that I earned his vote.
As far as you know.
He got to stay in my house. That was cool.
If you can get an 18-year-old boy to do something like that, that's
turn it up. I can.
Thank you for that. Getting an 18-year-old son to do something is not always the easiest, even something that should be as straightforward as that. So thank you. Ms. Rogers, you do have just an incredible enthusiasm. So I'm guessing you probably met somebody that kind of surprised you with their enthusiasm, maybe, or how did that turn out for you?
Well, we have technical difficulties. Thank you all for your patience. This is what happens when you're on the campaign trail. You're moving around. So thank you, Jeralynn, for helping me make this work. Mike, I appreciate you saying that about my enthusiasm. You know, it's one of those things where initially in the race, I did have people telling me that I needed to kind of calm it down, that I needed to bring it down a little bit. And, you know, I always have, and if I may be frank, as a woman, as a Black woman, I have throughout my career felt the pressure of needing to tone things down to assimilate and make everyone else comfortable. And again, when we talked about wanting to run for office, one of those things were being in a situation where even with my suit on, even with my briefcase, even with my file folder, I'm being asked, are you an attorney? And I'm saying no more to that. I don't want people to question, women to question Black women specifically about what their acumen is and what their qualifications are. And especially when you go in front of the judge and you are more prepared than everyone else there. So I say that to say, when I talk about energy, that energy comes from, again, the 18 years of seeing things that I've not been happy with, the 18 years of feeling as though I've needed to suppress myself when in fact I didn't, when in fact being who I am and being true to myself is exactly what was needed. That's the dawn of a new day that I'm talking about, Mike. And so it's something that I don't want, this is my messaging. And as Dean Bledsoe brought up before, I love working with young people. I love working with teenagers specifically. They're going through their formative years. They're trying to figure out who they are. Part of my messaging to them is that you stay true to who you are. You be your best self possible, that people that are uncomfortable with you and your style or your way of life or whatever, that's on them. You continue to be your best self, and I do believe that they will prosper. And so that's where the energy comes from. I can't change it. I've tried.
So I mean, you've been out there on the trail, obviously seeing the young folks, but is there somebody who's particular, kind of just thinking back, there was one episode, maybe one presentation to students or something that really stands out for you?
Well, for me, it was back in, even when I was teaching at Lone Star College, and again, I wasn't even on the campaign trail, but it was them asking me so many questions and having so much enthusiasm about the actual practice area of, you know, being an attorney. And so then when I then have gone back and I've spoken to different groups and told them that I'm running for judge, it's just all that comes along with it. And there are people, and I've said this before, even family members of mine that really had no interest in politics, but now their big cousin is running for judge. And so now they've registered to vote. Now they're bringing their friends out to vote. Now they're putting signs up. They're interested in block walking. They didn't even know what canvassing and block walking was because they hadn't done it before, but just that innate enthusiasm to support me has now got them out there putting cards in people's doors and just telling folk about me and so many other wonderful candidates. So those are the groups, the younger people, that I've been most enthusiastic about.
That is, and that's exciting to be loved too. I mean, because that's really what it is. They see you and they want you up there, and they understand how important it is, and that must really strike you right there. So, Ms. Morris, do you have something like that as well? Thank you, Ms. Rucker.
Yeah. For me, it was during the primaries at one of the town halls that I quite often frequented, and or the neighborhood civic club. And it was one of the precinct chairs, and she walked up to me and she said, "You know what? You remind me of my granddaughter." And it was so endearing that, and she wasn't the only one. That happened several times. And so for them to really kind of see, you know, their lineage in me, or see that a representation of something that maybe they were not able to achieve during, you know, their lifetime or during their career path. It was so inspiring to me that it's almost like they're lifting me up on their shoulders so I can get to where, you know, I need to be. And that really struck a chord and was very inspiring to me. Almost as if, and then somebody made the comment, you have generations on your back. And so that really struck a chord with me, and the willingness of the community to help and rally and to have younger voters, or sometimes people that children who aren't even old enough to vote, they now see something that they can do themselves one day. And there's not this sort of parameter, I have to do this or be like this or look like this before I can, you know, attain a certain position. And so for me, that was extremely inspiring and very humbling.
Thank you. And Ms. Moore, actually, I'll kind of loop back, because the other one I got that I thought kind of made sense is, y'all have been out in the community and obviously for a long time doing all kinds of things, but And obviously being a judge, there's certain things you're able to do, but community engagement, community involvement is something that's still, I think, kind of an important part of being a judge. How do you see yourself carrying that forward, you know, knock on wood, you know, 2.5 months from now when you're on the bench? Because that's not all part, it's all part of your job. I say it's part of your job. I mean, a lot of folks look at judges and see you as really important members of the community, which you are. What do you see going forward is kind of keep that engagement going and keep people understanding what a great job you're going to be doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm really big on being involved in the community, not just going out to the communities and the neighborhoods when you know it's election time, obviously, but just being involved. So different neighborhoods have things. Obviously with COVID, it's a little bit different this time around. So they would have like Easter egg hunts where you could provide candy, or they would just have different events where you could go and, or even mentoring, right? Like there's people within different communities that have a mentorship program where they do it via Zoom, and you can talk to high school students or whatever about future career, whether they want to be a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, or a mortician, or whatever they want to be in life. So just involving yourself in those sorts of activities, and then obviously making sure you frequent those communities, whether it be their civic clubs or whether it be, you know, their neighborhood or not fundraisers, but their events, so to speak. Just staying involved as much as you can. And I think that also makes you very relatable, because you're accessible. You're right there for the community to touch you and be there, and you're hearing their concerns. So while obviously you can't address them in your judicial capacity, you can kind of intake them and make sure that when you're on the bench, you're very cognizant of people's concerns.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. Ms. Manor, I think you're up there, and maybe it's just the way it's shown on my screen, but yeah, have you thought about kind of, you know, I know you don't want to jinx it also, but, you know, in January, you've obviously been engaged in the community. What do you see yourself as a judge being able to do that would kind of even make more of an impact on the community, not just on the bench?
So I think a lot of times, like even from my experience, judges weren't people that we saw on a regular basis. We didn't know who they were. We never had any contact with them. In our mind, there was someone sitting high on a bench somewhere that you did not want to go before. So in campaigning, I found myself going to the civic clubs and talking to people. Not that I was a judge at the time, but when I become one, to continue that and then introduce myself. Yes, I am a judge. I am Judge Manor, but I am your neighbor. I am your friend. I am someone you can talk to if you have an issue, or I'm here to hear what your complaints are, or what issues you have in your community. So staying engaged in communities, I think, is going to make a really big difference, because I think generally speaking, people don't know who their judges are. And I think that can change with us.
Thank you. Thank you. And Ms. Rogers, you know, and actually, this is something I know that kind of political activists talk about that I think is making such a huge difference here in Harris County and Texas and really everywhere is we've got, you know, people are going to the polls. You know, it's not that people don't like Joe Biden, but it's y'all down there on the bottom of the ballot that are driving people because they see there's a reason, and it's not just to get rid of Trump. And this is really a bottom up driving campaign. So Ms. Rogers, what do you think going forward? I mean, because obviously this enthusiasm is reliant not on Biden and ads, but on what y'all are doing out there. So what are you thinking after January?
Well, what I tell people when we're out at the polls is, listen, the reality is every single position is important, but we're the ones that you're going to actually see. We're the ones that are out on the field. We're the ones that you're going to make contact with. And of course, we need to be transparent because we are going to be held accountable 4 years from now, and it's time to vote again. I think that's where kind of mobilizing and getting everyone together and exciting, you know, doing the best we can with COVID to like almost like someone mentioned earlier, be a cheerleader, you know, have a pep rally, make things exciting, helping them to see us and realizing that we are just like you. I remind you of somebody in your family, right? That each of these candidates, you have actually shaken their hands or given the little elbow so that you know that we are relatable. You know that we are touchable. No one thinks that we're better than you. There's no elitist. No one is an elitist here, okay? Because we've had to get to this point means that we are familiar with the struggle. and we appreciate the hard work. And honestly, and I can't speak on behalf of the other ladies, but because we are all products of Thurgood Marshall School of Law, I think that's where that hard work comes from, that dedication comes from. You know, when you graduate from a school that has such a rich reputation, and when you go through the studies that we've gone through, you can't be anything but a winner after you graduate from Thurgood Marshall School of Law. Okay. And that's what I think we are communicating to everyone else that we come before, that you are a winner. Now you've got to figure out how to channel it. And the first thing to do is go in there and vote. And when people hear that and they recognize that they have that voice, who's going to say no? They're like, sign me up, you know? So that's part of where it comes from.
Thank you so much. And Ms. Thornton, since you started first, what do you think? What do you, you know, you've been engaged in all kinds, we've heard about that, but how do you see it going forward? You know, knock on wood on the bench, and you'll be on the bench hopefully sooner than everybody else, I think. So what are you thinking?
Well, you know, I think first and foremost, I'm a person that is civically engaged in my community. Even though I will be a judge, and you know, hopefully not jinxing it, but even though I will be a judge, that still does not mean that I don't have a responsibility to my community. And when I say my community, of course, I mean all of Harris County and Texas, et cetera. So I don't see that changing much. One of the reasons why I'm here is because of my civic engagement and people encouraging me to actually run because they've seen me out in the community so often, from the people at Houston Bar Association to the people at Precinct 228, you know, encouraging me to keep moving, take that step, become the judge that we know that you will be. So those people, I feel as though I need them just as much as they need me. So I cannot see stopping what I've been doing really probably since I was 11 years old. And my mother told me go door to door to literally canvass for Carl Walker, Judge Carl Walker, actually. And so because that was her classmate, she put me to work. She volunteered and put me to work.
Was that something you really welcomed?
Huh?
Did you really want to do that at 11?
I did not, but I listened to my mother. And because of that, though, it just gave me that inkling to keep on going. This is kind of fun. I'm meeting people. Oh, they think I'm cute. And you get those accolades, which keep you moving on. And ever since then, I have been involved in some fashion or another in politics. And one reason I have both my BA and my MA in political science, and why I've taught it, you know, at Lone Star and HCC, because of that involvement.
Thank you, Ms. Thornton. We actually have several more, but I also told folks we do it on time. And I'll kind of let Dean Bledsoe, if he has any closing thoughts, or y'all do, because we got an enormous engagement from our Facebook page. This will be on there. And so there's been a lot of folks seeing this on there. So I guess I'll leave with you, Ms. Thornton. Is there anything else you kind of think that, just looking ahead, I mean, this is it, besides prayers, what else do you want to leave our folks with?
I want to leave you with a big fat thank you and a hug. I wish I could reach out and hug each and every one of you, because I know that each person that's engaged in this seminar are hardworking Democrats, and they are there to support and lift us up. And more than anything, I want to say thank you. And I also want you to know that as you look at all 4 women of color, all 4 women that are graduates of Thurgood Marshall School of Law, what you're really looking at are qualified candidates for the bench. We are not asking for anything we have not earned. And more than anything, once we're on that bench, we will make each and every one of you proud. And again, Cheryl Elliott Thornton, running for the 164th Judicial District Court, and thank you.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you so much, Ms. Thornton. Dean, did you want to add anything, or just kind of let the folks?
Mike, I'll just say that I'm really mesmerized by the group. I think they all have that there's an it factor, I think, when it comes to what makes a really good judge, right? And I think that just hearing them really, they embody what Thurgood Marshall was all about. I think that he would be very pleased to see them representing the law school named after him as candidates for judge, and I think that's a great testament. But the obvious caring and concern, and as Ms. Elliott Thornton just mentioned, their broad breadth of experience. You know, I know that we keep hearing that that dog done hunt with me when they talk about the inexperience, and I think that you're really responding to some of the comments that came up after the 2018 elections, and we know those things are untrue, and that you guys have superior experience to most who have ascended to the bench. And I think you'll be incredibly fair and be great representatives of Harris County, and be able to treat everyone the way they should be treated by a judge, and really make embodiment to those words, justice, that are in the Texas Constitution, that we really ought to be following. So I'm totally excited to hear what you guys are saying, and understand how you look at the law and your commitment to making this community even better. So I truly appreciate each and every one of you, and I would say you're great representatives for Thurgood Marshall School of Law.
Thank you, Dean, and thank you for this idea. This is a really, especially once we get it out there, I think we're going to have a lot of folks that are going to really want to see not just what they are, but where they're from and what they represent, and that's really helpful. I don't want to cut anybody off, but Ms. Manor, Ms. Rogers, Ms. Morris, do y'all have anything else y'all want to say before we kind of log it off?
Okay, I know we're out of time, but real quick, we are asking you for your vote, and we're thanking you in advance. But I want you to pay attention, because when we take the bench and we do the work that we're telling you we're going to do, we will earn your vote. And when we come back around again and ask, we'll have earned it.
I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Rogers, did you want to?
Just really quickly, I just want to jump in and just again thank everyone for this evening. You can research me and do more by going to my website, dawnrogersforjudge.com. Remember, it is a dawn of a new day. Get everyone you know to go out to that poll and vote. And again, we recognize and realize that we are being watched and we're going to be held accountable. That's why we're going to make each and every one of you proud, and you are going to be happy that you voted for us. So again, thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Ms. Morris, 333, what do you have to say? Oh, sorry, you're on mute. I apologize.
Okay, really quick, I echo all the sentiments of the other candidates. This is quite possibly the most important election of our lifetime, so please get out, not just for the up ballot races, the down ballot races. All four ladies here are committed to being hardworking and dedicating and doing what it takes to move cases through the docket and be the type of judge that every lawyer wants to come before. So again, with that, my name is Brittanye Morris. I'm running for the 333rd Civil District Court, and I hope I can count on your vote.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dean Bledsoe. Just a heads up, we're going to have something post-election. We haven't kind of figured out. We're trying to do something maybe not as well. We have 700 people show up for our welcome new judges. We're not going to be able to do that, but I do hope everybody will join us when we're finally able to honor Dean Bledsoe in person, whenever it's safe, hopefully at the Hotel Zaza. But thank you very much. This will be on Facebook. Probably within an hour. Harold Mullins does a great job as always, and we'll have it out there. And thank you, and we look forward to Tuesday evening. Thank you all. Thank you, Harold.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you. Bye-bye.